In a vast room on the alien spaceship, leaders from different planets gathered for an important meeting. The Galactic Council was a powerful group, and they thought of themselves as the best in the universe. As the meeting began, their laughter echoed through the hall. They were discussing Earth, a small planet they believed was full of primitive creatures. The council members showed images of Earth's weapons, old guns, outdated tanks, and rockets that looked weak compared to their advanced technology. "Look at these toys," said Zorak, a tall alien with bright blue skin and multiple eyes. He pointed at the screen displaying Earth's weapons. "Do they really think they can challenge us with such childish tools?" The other council members laughed in agreement. They could not understand why Earthlings even bothered with their outdated technology. The aliens had weapons that could destroy planets with a single shot. They saw humans as a nuisance, not a threat. Meanwhile, on Earth, a group of scientists and military officers was working quietly in a hidden laboratory. They had heard about the aliens' plan to invade Earth. Instead of panic, they felt determined. They knew that their weapons seemed weak to the aliens, but they had a secret, a powerful weapon that could change everything. Dr. Emily Carter, a brilliant scientist, led the team. She had always believed in the potential of human innovation. "We have something they don't expect," she told her team. "We are not just using weapons, we are using our minds. We can turn their laughter into fear." The team was working on a project called the Sun. This was not just any weapon. It was a sophisticated satellite system that could harness the energy of the sun and focus it into a powerful beam. If they could launch it before the aliens arrived, it could turn the tide of battle. While the Council continued to mock Earth's capabilities, the team on Earth worked day and night. Dr. Carter and her colleagues faced many challenges, but they were determined. Each time they succeeded in a test, they felt closer to their goal. They knew that the aliens would not take them seriously until it was too late. Back in the Galactic Council meeting, the atmosphere was filled with overconfidence. A general named Krell stood up and added, "Humans are no match for us. They will scatter like ants when we attack. Let us not waste time on them." The council members nodded, confident in their decision to invade. "Prepare the fleet," shouted Zorak. "We will show these Earthlings the power of our technology." As the aliens made their plans, the scientists on Earth were putting the final touches on the sun. They had worked hard and their hope was building. The moment came when they were ready to launch the satellite into space. Dr. Carter looked at her team with determination. "This is it! We have one chance to prove ourselves. Let's show the galaxy what humans can really do." On the day of the launch, a crowd gathered at the Space Center. People watched as the rocket took off, heading straight for the stars. Cheers filled the air, but deep inside, everyone knew that this was only the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead. As the rocket entered orbit, Dr. Carter and her team monitored the systems. "It's working!" someone shouted. Excitement surged through the room. They had successfully positioned the sun in a stable orbit around the Earth. The team had achieved what many thought was impossible. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council prepared for their attack. They saw Earth as an easy target, a planet they could conquer without much effort. They didn't know about the sun and how it could change everything. The aliens were about to learn a lesson in underestimating humans. As they laughed and made their plans, the humans were readying their secret weapon, ready to turn the tables. Little did the Council know that their confidence would soon be shaken. The fight for Earth was about to begin, and the outcome was far from certain. This was just the start of a battle that would echo through the galaxy. Humans had always been underestimated, but they were ready to show the universe their true power. After successfully launching the sun into orbit, Dr. Emily Carter and her team were buzzing with excitement. They gathered in the control room where screens flickered with data and images of their powerful satellite. The atmosphere was electric, filled with hope and determination. They knew that they had created something special, something that could turn the tide in the coming battle against the aliens. Dr. Carter looked around at her team, her heart full of pride. "This is our moment! We need to make sure everything is ready before the aliens arrive. We can't let them underestimate us again." One of her lead engineers, Mark, spoke up. "We need to ensure that the energy harnessed from the sun can be focused accurately. If we miss our target, it could be disastrous." Everyone nodded in agreement. The team began checking and rechecking every system of the sun. They were focused on the mission, aware that the fate of their planet rested on their shoulders. The aliens thought Earth was weak, but they were about to learn a different story. As the days passed, tension grew. The Galactic Council was getting closer, and the countdown to the invasion had begun. The aliens were preparing their ships, boasting about how easy it would be to conquer Earth. They discussed their plans openly, full of confidence. They believed they were invincible. On the alien flagship, Zorak and Krell were mapping out their attack strategy. "We will strike hard and fast," Krell said. "Their defenses will crumble under our firepower. I want to see those primitive weapons destroyed in minutes," Zorak grinned. "And when we take control, we can use Earth as a base for our operations in the galaxy. Imagine the resources we can extract." Back on Earth, Dr. Carter was aware of the impending danger. She called a meeting with her team. "We have to stay one step ahead of the aliens. We can't let them know what we're capable of until it's too late. We need a plan for when they attack." The team brainstormed ideas. They knew they had to prepare for the worst. "What if we create a decoy?" suggested Lucy, another engineer. "We can make it look like we are using outdated weapons to draw their attention away from the sun." "That's brilliant," Dr. Carter exclaimed. "If they think we are weak, they may underestimate our true power. Let's set up some old tanks and make them visible. We'll let them think they have the upper hand." With a new plan in mind, the team quickly began preparing the decoy. They placed old tanks and weapons in an open area, making it look like a last stand against the aliens. As they worked, Dr. Carter couldn't help but feel a rush of adrenaline. They were taking a bold step, and it could change everything. Days turned into hours, and finally the day of the alien attack arrived. The sky darkened as the alien ships appeared, descending from the clouds like a storm. Humans watched in fear and awe. The invasion had begun. As the alien fleet hovered above, Dr. Carter and her team were ready. They activated the decoy, making the old weapons appear as if they were all Earth had. The aliens approached, their ships firing at the fake tanks, believing they had an easy victory. "Now!" Dr. Carter shouted, and the team activated the sun. The satellite began to absorb energy from the sun, charging up for its first real test. The powerful beam would soon be unleashed. As the aliens focused on the decoy, they had no idea what was coming. The energy from the sun built up, and Dr. Carter could feel the excitement and tension in the air. This was it, the moment they had been waiting for. With a flick of a switch, Dr. Carter commanded, "Fire!" The beam shot from the satellite, cutting through the sky like a bolt of lightning. It struck the alien ships with incredible force, sending shockwaves through the fleet. The aliens were taken by surprise, their laughter quickly replaced by screams of confusion and fear. The first attack from the sun had begun, and Earth was finally ready to show its strength. The tables had turned, and the aliens were about to learn a hard lesson: never underestimate the power of humanity. The fight for Earth had only just begun, and Dr. Carter's big plan was finally in motion. The sky darkened as the alien ships descended toward Earth, casting long shadows over cities and fields. Thousands of humans watched in fear and disbelief, unsure of what would happen next. The air was thick with tension. But in the control room of the Satellite Operations Center, Dr. Emily Carter and her team were ready. They had spent countless hours preparing for this moment, and now it was time to act. "Are we ready?" Dr. Carter asked, her voice steady despite the chaos outside. "Yes, everything is set," Mark replied, his fingers flying over the controls. "We are fully charged and ready to fire the sun at the enemy." The team gathered around the main screen, which displayed the alien fleet hovering in the atmosphere. Ships of all shapes and sizes filled the sky, their metallic bodies gleaming ominously. The aliens believed they would easily defeat the humans, but they had no idea about the power of the weapon above them. Suddenly, the first shots rang out from the alien ships. Bright beams of light shot down toward the ground, targeting the decoy tanks that the team had set up. Explosions erupted, sending debris flying. The aliens laughed, thinking they had the humans right where they wanted them. "Look at them scramble! They think those old tanks can stop us." Krell, the alien general, sneered, watching the destruction from the command ship. But while the aliens were busy destroying the decoy, Dr. Carter and her team prepared for their counterattack. "Now is our chance!" she shouted. "Fire the sun." With a powerful surge, the satellite fired its energy beam. The light shot down from the sky like a comet, striking the first alien ship with a blinding flash. The impact was immediate and devastating. The ship shook violently, its systems failing as it exploded into 1,000,000 pieces. "Did you see that?" Someone on the team shouted in disbelief. "It worked!" The shock of the first hit spread through the alien fleet. They hadn't expected such a powerful attack. Ships began to scramble, trying to regroup and identify the source of the beam. Panic set in among the aliens as they realized they were no longer the hunters. They were now the prey. "What is happening?" Zorak yelled, his multiple eyes wide with fear. "Our ships are being destroyed." "Focus!" Krell barked, trying to regain control of the situation. "We need to find the source of that weapon." As the aliens scrambled, Dr. Carter ordered another strike. "Fire again!" The satellite fired once more, targeting another alien ship. The beam hit with incredible force and another explosion lit up the sky. The humans in the control room cheered, their spirits lifting as they saw their plan unfolding before their eyes. "This is amazing! We're actually winning!" Mark exclaimed, his face glowing with excitement. But the aliens were not done yet. They regrouped, quickly sending out smaller ships to locate the source of the attacks. They began scanning the area, and it was clear that they were beginning to realize that Earth was not as weak as they had thought. "We need to move fast," Dr. Carter warned. "If they find us, they will target the sun next. We have to keep them distracted." "Let's change the frequency of the beam," Lucy suggested. "If we alter the signal, we can fire in a different direction to confuse them." Dr. Carter nodded, impressed by her team's quick thinking. "Do it! We can't let them catch us off guard." As the team adjusted the settings, another alien ship came into range. "Firing!" Mark shouted, pressing the button. The beam shot out again, this time at a different angle, striking a third ship. The explosion sent debris raining down, causing more chaos in the alien ranks. The tide of battle was shifting, and Dr. Carter could feel the hope rising in her chest. Earth was fighting back, and they were not going down without a fight. As more alien ships fell from the sky, the humans cheered, their spirits lifted by the unexpected success. Meanwhile, the aliens were growing desperate. "We can't let this continue!" Zorak shouted, anger rising in his voice. "We must find and destroy that satellite!" But as the aliens turned their focus, Dr. Carter and her team stayed one step ahead. With each successful strike, they proved that humanity could stand up against the might of the Galactic Council. This was just the beginning of a battle that would change everything. The aliens had underestimated Earth, and now they were learning a hard lesson. Humans were not as primitive as they thought. The fight for Earth had only just begun, and the first attack had set the stage for an epic showdown. The battle raged on in the skies above Earth, and Dr. Emily Carter watched in awe as their plan unfolded. The alien fleet was in chaos, with ships exploding one by one. The humans had taken them by surprise, and the tide of the battle had shifted in their favor. But the aliens were regrouping, and Dr. Carter knew they couldn't let their guard down. "Keep firing!" she shouted to her team, her eyes glued to the screen. "We have to maintain the pressure." Mark was working frantically at the control panel. "We're running low on power, Emily. We need to conserve energy for a big strike." Dr. Carter nodded, understanding the importance of their situation. "Let's wait for the right moment. We need to draw them in closer. If we can lure them into a tight formation, we can unleash the sun with all its power." Meanwhile, the alien fleet was beginning to realize they had underestimated the humans. Krell and Zorak were furiously discussing their next move. "We can't lose this battle," Krell insisted, frustration evident in his voice. "If we don't act quickly, we will face total defeat." Zorak, trying to remain calm, replied, "We need to launch our small attack ships. They can distract the humans while we find the source of that weapon." With a wave of his hand, Zorak sent out dozens of small alien ships, each one equipped with powerful weapons. They darted toward Earth, creating chaos as they began firing wildly at the remaining decoys and anything that resembled a human defense. Back in the control room, Dr. Carter watched the new threat unfold. "They're sending in smaller ships," she warned. "We need to keep our focus on the sun, but also protect the base." "Got it! I'll set up defensive measures," Mark said, rapidly typing commands into the console. They activated protective shields around the satellite, preparing for incoming attacks. The alien ships approached rapidly, shooting beams of energy toward the Earth below. The explosions lit up the sky, and the sound of distant booms echoed through the control room. Dr. Carter felt her heart race as she saw the destruction unfolding. "Prepare for the big strike," she commanded, keeping her focus. As soon as they group together, we'll fire everything we've got. The smaller alien ships darted around trying to distract the humans. Their pilots were confident, thinking they had gained the upper hand. But the aliens did not know what awaited them. Dr. Carter could feel the tension mounting as the enemy closed in. "Now!" she shouted, and the team fired a series of smaller blasts to create a diversion. The energy beams illuminated the darkening sky, forcing the alien ships to scatter. Dr. Carter saw her chance. "Get ready! Here they come!" she yelled as the remaining alien ships regrouped, clustering together in an attempt to attack the satellite. "Now is our moment!" With a deep breath, she commanded, "Fire the full power of the sun." The satellite unleashed its massive energy beam, a brilliant light that shot through the sky like a thunderbolt. The beam struck the center of the alien formation, hitting multiple ships at once. The force of the explosion was overwhelming, sending debris flying everywhere. The humans erupted in cheers as they witnessed the devastation. "We did it! Look at them!" Lucy shouted, eyes wide with excitement. But amid the celebration, Dr. Carter remained focused. "Don't get cocky! We need to stay alert," she reminded her team. The battle was far from over, and the aliens would not give up easily. On the alien command ship, panic reigned. Zorak and Krell watched in horror as their fleet was decimated. "This cannot be happening!" Zorak shouted, his voice filled with rage. "We need to retreat and regroup." "No!" Krell insisted. "We must fight back. We can't let them win." As the remaining ships tried to regroup, Dr. Carter saw the opening she needed. "Let's finish this! Fire again!" she commanded. With the last of their power, they unleashed another strike. The beam shot through the darkness, targeting the fleeing alien ships. The explosions lit up the sky, and the humans felt a sense of triumph wash over them. But as the smoke cleared, one of the larger alien ships, heavily damaged but still operational, began to turn toward the satellite. Zorak, filled with determination, prepared for a final desperate attack. Dr. Carter felt a chill run down her spine. "We need to protect the sun. They won't give up easily." This was the turning point. The aliens had underestimated humanity, but now they were learning a hard lesson. The battle was reaching a climax, and both sides were ready for one final showdown. Earth would not back down, and Dr. Carter was determined to ensure that they would emerge victorious. The atmosphere buzzed with tension as the remaining alien ships regrouped. Dr. Emily Carter and her team watched closely, their hearts pounding in anticipation. The last battle had pushed both sides to their limits, and they knew the next moments would decide the fate of Earth. "We've damaged their fleet, but they're not finished yet," Mark warned, his fingers nervously tapping the console. "We need to be ready for their counterattack." Dr. Carter nodded, her mind racing. "We must prepare our defenses and get the sun ready for one last strike. They'll come at us hard now that they know we're a real threat." In the control room, the atmosphere was electric. Everyone focused on the main screen, where the alien ships were starting to regroup for their final offensive. Dr. Carter took a deep breath, trying to calm her nerves. She knew the aliens were angry and desperate, and that made them dangerous. On the alien command ship, Krell fumed. "They have taken too much from us. We will show them the power of the Galactic Council." He ordered his remaining ships to concentrate all their firepower on the human satellite. "Prepare the main weapons," Zorak yelled, determination shining in his multiple eyes. "We will not be defeated by these primitive creatures." The two forces were now locked in a deadly standoff. The tension was palpable as both sides prepared for the final showdown. Dr. Carter's team had only a few minutes to ready themselves for the fight of their lives. "Get the shields online," she ordered. "We have to protect the sun at all costs." As the humans activated their defenses, the alien ships launched their first wave of attacks. Bright beams of energy shot toward the satellite, creating blinding flashes in the sky. Explosions rocked the control room, shaking the team to their core. "We're taking fire!" Lucy yelled, panic rising in her voice. "Hold steady!" Dr. Carter shouted, gripping the edge of the console. "We can withstand this. We've trained for this moment!" The shields held firm against the onslaught, but Dr. Carter knew they wouldn't last forever. "Prepare to fire the sun on my command! Wait for them to cluster together." As the alien ships approached, they were filled with confidence. "This time we will crush them," Krell yelled. "Aim for the weak points in their defenses." The alien ships fired again, beams of energy shooting toward the satellite. Dr. Carter watched as the shields flickered under the pressure. Hold on, she urged her team. Just a little longer. The alien ships began to close in, and Dr. Carter felt a surge of adrenaline. Now! Fire the sun. The satellite unleashed its full power, the beam of energy piercing through the chaos and striking the alien ships with immense force. The explosion was magnificent, sending shockwaves throughout the battlefield. "Look at that!" Mark shouted, a mix of disbelief and exhilaration in his voice. "It's working!" But Krell was not finished. He commanded his ships to charge forward, desperate to destroy the humans once and for all. "Push through! Do not let them escape!" The remaining alien ships, fueled by anger, advanced rapidly, firing wildly at the satellite. The humans braced themselves as another wave of energy beams struck their shields, making the room shake violently. Dr. Carter's heart raced as she watched the approaching threat. "We need to divert some power to the shields. We can't let them breach." "Diverting power now," Mark replied, adjusting the controls. "But if we do that, we might not have enough left for another full strike."
"Do it!"
"We can't lose the sun now," Dr. Carter insisted. The tension grew thick in the control room as they redirected power, reinforcing their shields. Just as it seemed the alien ships would overwhelm them, Dr. Carter spotted an opening. "We need to use our last strike wisely. If we can lead them into a choke point, we can finish this." "Okay, let's do it," Mark agreed, sweat beading on his forehead. With a renewed sense of purpose, the humans began to lure the alien ships toward a narrow opening between two buildings on Earth. "They're falling for it," Lucy said, excitement building. "Now!" Dr. Carter shouted, and the team unleashed the final strike of the sun. The beam of energy shot through the gap, striking multiple alien ships at once. The resulting explosion illuminated the sky, creating a blinding light. As the dust settled, the control room erupted in cheers. "We did it!" Mark shouted, tears of joy in his eyes. But amidst the celebration, Dr. Carter remained vigilant. "Let's confirm the status of the remaining ships. We can't let our guard down just yet." As the team assessed the damage, it became clear the aliens were retreating. Their remaining ships fled, desperate to escape the wrath of humanity. "Earth stands strong," Dr. Carter declared, pride swelling in her chest. "We have shown them that we will not be underestimated." The humans watched as the alien fleet disappeared into the darkness of space. They had won the battle, but the fight had changed them forever. They knew that the Galactic Council would not forget this day, and as the stars sparkled above, a new chapter began for Earth. The humans had taken a stand, proving that even against the mightiest foes, they would rise united and strong. The final showdown was over, but the story of humanity had only just begun.